In the headlines, troop rescues 6 Gusau University students hours after abduction. Kebbi State government shuts down mining activities across the state over security concerns. Plateau Tribunal upholds Governor Muftuang's election victory. Also in the news, Sudan Army Chief warns United Nations, says war could spill over and engulf the region. Hello there. Good evening and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Zamfara as operatives of the Joint Task Force of Operation Hadarin Daji have intercepted the abductors of female students of the Federal University of Gusau who were kidnapped in the early hours of Friday, rescuing 6 students and neutralizing scores of terrorists. Reports say the troops pursued the kidnappers, tracing them to a thick forest, engaging them in a gun duel supported by air components of the Nigerian Air Force. A source within the military said 6 of the abducted students were rescued and several terrorists have been neutralized. The troops also recovered rifles, motorcycles and other items from the terrorists. The rescue operation follows the abduction of female students from their rented hostels at Sabongida community, few meters from the Federal University in Gusau. To Kebbi State now, where the state government has announced a ban on all mining activities in the state over security situation at the mining sites and the need to protect mining workers, host communities and put in measures for revenue generation and corporate social responsibility within the industry. Addressing journalists in Birnin Kebbi on Friday, the Secretary to the State Government, Yakubu Tafida, says the government's decision to suspend mining in the state is a precautionary measure aimed at ensuring the safety of mining workers and people of the communities. He said the state government was not unmindful of the fact that mining is under exclusive legislative list, yet its decision to suspend mining activities in the state was made after a thorough assessment of the current security situation across mining sites in the state. The Secretary to the State Government says the government believes that it is of utmost importance to prioritize protection and security of its citizens as well as safeguard against converting the mining fields to breeding criminals by unauthorized foreigners and non-indigents with questionable characters, with attendant consequences of increase in banditry. To Plateau State now, where the state governorship election petition tribunal sitting in Jos has upheld the election victory of Governor Caleb Muftuang of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). The tribunal also dismissed the petition filed by Nantawe Yilwatda, the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC). The Independent National Electoral Commission had declared Caleb Muftuang as winner of the governorship election held in the state on March 18, 2023. But the APC candidate had challenged the declaration of Muftuang as winner of the election and had asked the court to declare him winner on the grounds that the PDP lacked structure and that there was overvoting during the election. The petitioner had also asked the court to include the votes of the 14 polling units rejected by the Independent National Electoral Commission in its tally of the election. Now, delivering judgment on Friday, the chairman of the tribunal, Justice R. Irele Ifene, held that the petitioners lacked local standing to challenge internal affairs of the PDP. The tribunal also held that the PDP actually held a repeat Congress back in September of 2021 in compliance with the order of the Jos High Court given by Justice S.B. Gang and dismissed the petition. Well, a little earlier we spoke to Adu Musa, our correspondent in Jos, the state capital, for an update.
The APC candidate presented 3 grounds and asking the court to also consider them. But in their ruling, that is the governorship tribunal led by Ireli Ifene, she said that on the first ground, which the APC candidate was also challenging the Plateau State governor, which has to do with party structure. They say he lacks the party, or rather, he said he doesn't have the jurisdiction to challenge the party structure of the PDP since he's not the member of that particular party. And she also added that challenging the party structure is a pre-election matter, and therefore he has no jurisdiction to challenge the governor on that ground. On ground two, which has to do with overvoting, the chairman of the panel also read that the APC governor, or rather his council, failed to provide any substantial evidence that will show them that yes, there was overvoting during the election. And on ground three, the chairman said that since the court has dismissed the first and second ground, there is no any reason for the tribunal to also consider the third ground. She therefore said that the PDP has a valid structure and that the APC has no substantial evidence to also prove that yes, there was overvoting during the election. So that was why they rely on and then dismiss the petition by the APC candidate. After the judgment, the counsel to the APC candidate, that is Edward Pajok, he told journalists that they were not happy, or rather they are not satisfied with the judgment, and he's assuring us that they are going to appeal the case. So definitely, I'm very sure that based on what Edward Pajok, who is the counsel to the APC candidate, says that they are going to appeal the case. So definitely, they will appeal the case.
Right, Ado Musa there with an update on the Gubernatorial Election Petition Tribunal judgment delivered earlier in the day. Now let's get back to developments in Zamfara now. Joining us via Zoom to help us unpack the developments around the kidnapping of students of the Federal University in Gusau is Dr. Lionel Rawlings. Is Vice President, Security and Safety at the American University of Nigeria in Yola, is a retired U.S. Marine and a national security analyst. Doctor, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us on the news. Let me get your initial thoughts on the uptick, this resurgence of bandits activity, especially in Zamfara over the past couple of months. Week in, week out, communities are being attacked, people are being killed, kidnapped on a regular basis. Recently, some core members on their way to Sokoto were kidnapped, and now this daring attack on the student hostel in the state capital, Gusau. What is your take on why this resurgence is happening?
Well, I will not say it is a resurgence. It never stopped. It continued, and it has been going on. There was a lull, if you want to use that word. But just recently, it seemed as if attacking students, or should I say core members, have become the in thing now. It is the I should say the core thing of what bandits want. And why is that so? Because it creates a shock to the nation. The country is shocked. The universities are shocked. The family members are shocked. And they also will make some good money out of it because it is kidnapping for ransom. And the core members they're not just your ordinary students. These are people who graduated from the university. Also, they have some kind of attachment to the Nigerian government as core members. So it is a slap into the face of the government, and also at the same time is a money-making business. It never went away. It was always there. The bandits just trying to see where they can gather and make all their money from. And right now it seems as if kidnapping core members are the in thing. for them.
And with regards to this particular development, there seems to be a correlation between the season and why there's an increase, if you can. I mean, you say it's not a resurgence, but an increase in activities of bandits. Some say that the forests are getting thicker now because of the rainfall, so they have a lot more grounds now that can give them cover when they kidnap individuals, for instance. Give me your thoughts on why whether or not the security architecture is adapting as fast as it needs to with some of the guerrilla tactics of these kidnappers.
I disagree that it is the season and that they get more coverage from the grass and the shrubs. I do not think so at all, because the coverage that you can get is, if you want to really talk about coverage, is something you would get from the trees within the forest. I just believe that just like everything else, today it is core members. There was a time when it was school children. There was a time when it was farmers. The bandits are just choosing their targets wisely, where it is most vulnerable and where they can easily access the vulnerability of their victims. On the other hand, the military did put up a good fight, from what I was told, and what we all know is that the military did try to attack. The military went after them with some good firepower. For some reason, the bandits were able to escape with their students, with their core members. And so that tells me that this was easily planned. It was well orchestrated. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they were able to thwart the attack of the military by escaping with all of those. And by the way, it was a lot of students, a lot of core members that they were able to take away. So it tells me this was well planned and well orchestrated.
Okay, talking about today's kidnapping of some of the students from the Federal University in Gusau who were off campus, a good number of them, but also some of them were on the school campus. Give me your sense of the response time, because we understand that immediately the attack was happening, soldiers of operatives of Operation Hadarin Daji were quick to respond to call for help, engage them, track them down to the forest, neutralize some of them, and were able to rescue at least 6 of the students that were kidnapped earlier today. This is something rather unusual. Over the past couple of years, usually it would take days or weeks. Some of the Chibok girls are still in captivity today, and that is something that most families have had to deal with. Give me your sense of what you think is happening with the response time being swift, including an air raid during that counter-offensive.
Well, I have to commend the military for the quick action and decisive action. It tells me that they are on top of the game. In the past, as you mentioned, no one would have responded. And even though that they were able to abduct these core members, they had to put up a fight to get these core members and to take them back into the forest. This tells me that perhaps the security chiefs are very serious, or the new ones are very serious about putting an end to banditry and to terrorism. Say, let's just say violence as a whole, because this has never really happened before. And the fact that they were right there to engage them in combat, real-time combat, it tells me that these guys are no nonsense, the military, that is. Right. My only concern is when you are abducting people and there is a gunfight, many times the victims become the fatalities. And I am very surprised from the amount of victims that were taken, or the amount of core members that were abducted, we didn't have many fatalities. And so again, that tells me something again about the plan.
Right.
Perhaps when they took the core members, they immediately took them away with a group of their bandit operatives and took them away into the forest and leave.
Okay, Dr. Lano, we're gonna have to leave it here for now. But thank you most kindly for the expert analysis, and we do appreciate you for making the time and giving us your take on the developments regarding that bandits' activity in Zamfara, kidnapping and abducting a good number of students, with the military rescuing 6 of them and neutralizing some terrorists. Thank you very much for the time, Doctor. I appreciate you for your take.
Don't mention.
Right. Okay, moving on to some of the day's other news now. Beneficiaries of food items distributed to residents in Bauchi State as part of the palliative scheme remain skeptical about the impact it will have on reducing the effects of fuel subsidy removal in the country. Here's Trust TV's Adamu Imam with the details.
The impact of removing fuel subsidy has continued to bite harder across all classes of people, especially the vulnerable people in the country. Recently, some of the first set of beneficiaries of rice in Bauchi State expressed happiness with the effort made by the federal government in conjunction with state authorities. With the way the price of food items has risen and made life pretty much expensive, getting this rice is a huge relief because it will help reduce some of the struggles to get food. Some households can go an entire day without a single meal, so this is commendable and I thank them immensely. We are thankful to the President and our Governor for making what we are witnessing now possible. We appreciate them, the committee, and our traditional rulers as well. May Allah imbue them with wisdom to continue with the good work they are doing. Meanwhile, some retired soldiers who are among the beneficiaries expressed dismay over the rice distribution exercise and urged President Tinubu and state governors to change strategy in dealing with the current hardship.
This cannot solve a problem of mass. A 25 kilogram of rice will take you 10 people or 20 people in how many minutes? So what you can do is to reduce the money of the fuel. And our forefathers' fuel is 35 naira. It has come to 350. Mr. President, please reduce the price of the fuel.
We thank God as the governor remembers. But all what I'm saying, I have nothing to say much about this. What happened here? My own. I'll just talk about our country. And to be sincere, let the leader wake up. Let them seriously. The youth, our youth, they will bury this country. I'm telling you, if they don't take time.
Earlier, the distribution committee announced that they will use polling units across all 20 local government areas of the state to reach as many people as possible in order to address the food crisis faced in many Nigerian homes. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, we take a look at the risks associated for households living close to power lines. Details of this and many more coming up ahead in just a moment. Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us on the news. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories at this hour. Troops rescue 6 Gusau University female students hours after abduction. Kebbi State government shuts down mining activities across the state over security concerns. Now, the Transmission Company of Nigeria says despite obvious dangers, some residents of Kaduna State are still erecting structures under high-tension power lines. Now, some of the residents, while acknowledging the associated danger, say they have no alternative but to risk living with the attendant consequences. Trust TV's Bello Musa visited the communities in Kaduna Metropolis and sent in this report.
It is obvious the residents here are living under imminent danger. The high-tension wires appear to be directly above the roof of these residents. Although some do not understand the dangers, others who do are afraid of living in such communities.
I
have lived in this environment for years, and we have not had issues with high-tension cables because the cables were replaced with new ones. Our challenge is during the rainy season. During that period, the cables vibrate, and sometimes some of us have to rush out of our houses in fear.
It
will be difficult to remove houses here. Instead of removing them, the authorities concerned should relocate the cables to somewhere else. Some are afraid to live here. Some people had to abandon their houses due to fear. Building structures on unapproved areas like right-of-ways is still persisting despite effort by the authorities concerned to prevent such. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, says the issue has been very disturbing to the company.
The right-of-ways is 25 meters from the center of our 330 kV line to both sides. There should not be a structure there. On the 132 is 15 meters from the center to both sides. But if you look at even here in Mando, Barakallah, and other places, you see building directly under the higher tension line. And that is very dangerous because anything can happen. Once this conductor swing, what will happen will be very catastrophic.
It's the responsibility of this agency to approve or disapprove any structure, not even high tension, but all those development you see under high tension is unapproved by this agency, and we have telling them, warning them, enlightening them on the danger or building under high tension.
The TCN says some legal issues are preventing them from enforcing compliance.
The problem is TCN on their own cannot demolish structure. There will be, this time there will be some legal battle. Somebody will go to court. Somebody will do this. We just need the relevant agencies like KASUBDA, town planning, and what have you, civil defense. We need their cooperation to impose this law because the law is there, but we cannot impose it. TCN cannot impose it.
For more than a decade now, high-tension cables have been reportedly falling on low-tension cables, leading to deaths of many at Kwanar Faruqai village in Kaduna. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
To the ongoing United Nations General Assembly, where Sudan's army chief has warned the United Nations General Assembly that months of war in his country could spill over into the region, and he called for international pressure to be placed on the paramilitary forces he is fighting in Sudan, including their designation as a terrorist group. Army leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, speaking at the United Nations General Assembly following a string of foreign trips, called on the international community on Thursday to designate the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces as a terrorist organization and to target its sponsors outside Sudan's borders, an allusion to ties with Russia's Wagner mercenaries. Burhan said the danger of the war is now a threat to regional and international peace and security, as those rebels have sought the support of outlaws and terrorist groups from different countries in the region and across the world. Fighting broke out in Sudan back in April after the collapse of a plan to integrate the army and the rapid support forces led by Burhan's former Deputy General, Muhammad Hamdan Dagalo, who is also known as Hemeti. In sports, barely 4 months to the start of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations, the African Soccer Governing Body has sent warning signals to host country Ivory Coast. Now, reports indicates that one of the stadiums picked as the host venue for the competition, Osumana Ouattara Ebimpe, remains an eyesore after rain fell during the international friendly game between Ivory Coast and Mali. The situation warranted CAF seeking an alternative country that could stage the tournament, and the date will not be shifted. The local organizing committee has commenced work on the damaged part of the stadium and promised to deliver it in no distant future. Now, the football governing body sent the warning letter to the Ivorian Football Federation on Thursday, telling the association to work fast or lose their right to host the games. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. I'll be back a little later at 6 for more. But for now, feel free to follow us across our social media platform to catch up on some of our contents and visit trusttv.com for more news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.